Welcome to Healing Dialogues. I'm Irene Siegel, one of the co-directors for Centerpoint, an integrated health and counseling center located in Huntington, New York. We're going to begin today a 4-part series on the medicine wheel. What is a medicine wheel? Well, for those of you that have been to sacred spiritual sites around the world, you might see a circle of stones with a center stone. This center stone usually represents the Mother Earth, and there's usually at least 4 different stones that represent the 4 directions: north, south, east, and west. So physically, it could look like a circle of stones with a center stone. Sometimes you might see actual stones leading up to the center stones from the 4 directions. However, we're going to be talking about the medicine wheel more in terms of the philosophy of the wheel. Many cultures throughout the planet work with the medicine wheel. The medicine wheel is considered to be a tool for growth and personal transformation. The 4 directions of the medicine wheel are represented by the major forces of nature. Different traditions utilize different animal symbols in each of the 4 directions to represent major archetypes that exist in nature. My teachers have been of Incan descent, so throughout this series you'll hear me talk about the animal symbols related to the Incan medicine wheel, which is in the south. The south itself is represented by the serpent. The west is represented by the jaguar, the north by the horse, and the east by the eagle. Now this can change from tradition to tradition. It's not the animal symbol that's so important as the fact that each symbol represents a major archetype of nature. The shamans, or the healers around the world, believe that if we suffer from illness or disease, it's because we've lost our connection to nature. And working with the medicine wheel is one way to reestablish a connection to nature. The shamans understand that through the process of doing personal healing work, as well as weaving that into a process of spiritual initiation, that's what leads us to true healing, and that's what reestablishes our connection to nature. So through this series, I'm going to be introducing you to the 4 directions of the medicine wheel and the work that's represented in each of those directions. As a psychotherapist, I've learned traditionally in our society how to peel away the layers and help a client come to a place of understanding of the deeper issues related to whatever is bothering us, whether it's emotional stress, or even if there's a physical illness, there's usually an emotional component to it as well. The shamans understand that there's also always a spiritual component to it. And in order for us to achieve true healing and a true state of balance, we need to learn how to get in touch with that inner knowing within ourselves, that place of stillness and quiet that helps us reconnect to our spiritual core. Well, the shamans believe that throughout our lifetime we are continuously circling the wheel, always following one direction after another. So the circle itself actually becomes a spiral, taking us to a higher and higher level throughout our lifetime in our own spiritual initiation and our own healing process. On the Incan wheel begins in the south. Although there really is no beginning and no ending, we start in the south, which is represented by the serpent. The south on the Incan wheel has to do with cleansing and purifying and releasing the ghosts of the past. So in a traditional setting, in a more conventional setting to our technological society, we would look at that in terms of our personal past. So if someone comes into the office of a psychotherapist, we might start to delve into our childhood to understand why our difficulties in the present is so hard for us to get past. And as we understand our past, we're able to begin to shift and change and transform. Well, when we talk about the past in terms of a larger spiritual context, we start to understand that the past is not just about our personal past. We start to understand that we exist beyond linear time and space. So as the shamans learn how to journey into the non-ordinary realms through meditation, we start to access a place within ourselves that exists beyond time and space. The past, in terms of our personal past, still is very important. We might start to really understand that there are issues of the past, or what the shamans call ghosts of the past, that we hold on to, that drain us, not just emotionally, but literally energetically. So we might feel depleted, or we might feel depressed, or we might have a physical illness that we can't seem to shake. We might feel tired, or we might have a symptom that's been identified by our conventional medical doctors. However, the shamans don't believe in diagnosing and then healing. They believe in delving into the non-ordinary realms through a meditative state and understanding energetically what's happening to this person. So when we start to work in the South, we do the work with the image of the serpent, and we ask that we could shed the past the way the serpent sheds its skin, which is all at once rather than layer by layer. And we begin to realize that there are many aspects to the past. It's not just about our personal past, but there's so much of the past that makes up who we are. The shamans do believe in concepts such as past lives, but they don't talk about that very much because they consider past lives to just be another phase of our existence, that we might change form, we might have other experiences, but all of that contributes to who we are in this moment in time, who we are at this point in our current lifetime. When we talk about the past might have to do as well with our existence as energy, as spirit. From a spiritual context, we recognize that we come into this lifetime with an energy field, and that energy field holds the knowledge of our past experiences. Possibly, if you believe in past lives, you might think that might be a part of it. But our connection to spirit is also translated into our everyday world. Our past has to do with our family past. We know in our conventional society that past issues, family patterns can be translated down from generation to generation. That parents model to their children what they learned from their own parents. So from a psychological and sociological perspective, we understand that. But in terms of being spiritual beings, the shamans understand that there is a field, an energy field, that holds the patterning of our family past. So when we come into this world and we take on the energy of our parents, not just the physical structure, but our DNA holds an energy field to it as well, that reflects our family's past, that we directly take on. So whatever the belief systems are, whatever the wounds are of our generational past becomes encoded in our field. We have a cultural past. We have a past, many of us, especially in the United States, are comprised of a blending of different cultural aspects. We can be Jewish, Italian, Scandinavian, Chinese, Japanese, Afro-American, and more and more there's a blending of those cultures. But each culture comes with its history. Each culture comes with its own wounds. And that as well is encoded in our energy. And we take that on. So the wounds of our past are energetically encoded in our field. As a country, we have a history, we have a past. As a society, whatever that history is becomes a part of who we are, becomes a part of our field. So when we talk about the past, we're talking about a context that keeps becoming larger and larger from a spiritual perspective. When we start to actually work with the past, there's a very interesting concept that's very hard for most of us to grasp because of how we think in our everyday world. And we usually think in linear terms. We understand the past, we know the present, and we can experience some sense of what the future holds for us in our minds. But when we start to learn how to journey into the non-ordinary realms, past, present, and future lose their definition, and we start to become focused in the moment. So as we start to identify the wounds of the past, we're able to actually heal those wounds in the present. And as we heal them in the present, it shifts something in the field that affects the past and affects the future. Because on one level, it's all happening at the same time. Now, for most of us, this is a concept that's very difficult to understand because it's not our experience. When we start to learn how to meditate and how to find that sense of inner peace and stillness, then we start to have an experience of that concept a little bit differently. But what most of us can understand is that as we identify all the factors that make up who we are, we can start to heal those wounds now and move forward into the future differently. As we change our own patterns, we shift the field that we hold around us as well. So it affects everybody in our world to some degree, whether they're conscious of it or not conscious of it. So as we start to identify these issues, the way we do it is to get out of the logical mind. Now, we are hearing more and more from people like Deepak Chopra and those that understand that healing goes beyond just what we know in our mind. We're starting to understand that when we access true healing, it has to do with creating an alignment that takes us to our spiritual core. Deepak Chopra talks about how we need to get very still and very quiet and find that place of inner peace for true healing to happen. There's an ability that we all have to access a divine pattern within ourselves, and when we realign to that divine pattern, then true healing can happen. So as we access the tools that our conventional society has available to us, that can be certainly helpful to heal whatever our ailments are, if we also learn to access the deeper parts of ourselves and to get very still and very quiet and to realize the parts of ourselves we have been cut off from, then we can start to quicken our own healing process. So in working with the medicine wheel, the first step is cleansing, purification, and releasing the past. And by journeying into the non-ordinary realms of reality, we're able to start to identify issues of the past that would not be present in our conscious thinking. It's a way of bypassing our conscious, logical mind to get to the part of ourselves that's more intuitive, that works more in symbols and images. And we do that through meditation. The shamans believe that we can get into an altered state in a variety of ways. One way is through deep breathing. Another way is through movement. There are certain movement meditations similar to Tai Chi. And another way is through the drum, because by drumming, the drumbeat itself accesses a part of the brain that can release endorphins and takes us into a higher state of consciousness. So by accessing these parts of ourselves and beginning to identify these issues of the past, we start on our journey. And it's an amazing journey. When I teach meditation, I always tell my students to honor those issues of the past, to honor the crises in our present and the issues of the past that are coming to the surface, because this is what pushes us through to a deeper part of ourselves. And the journey can become amazing. You might think to yourself that you have certain goals in your life. Certain goals, if you walk into a therapist's office or into a doctor's office, you want to alleviate your symptoms. But when you start to add to that process, a process of spiritual initiation, through meditation, through working with a teacher, then you can access the part of yourself that can heal more quickly than just utilizing conventional methods. So right now, I'm going to just take you through a simple breathing exercise, and then I'm going to just introduce you to a very brief centering technique using the drum, taking you through a very brief meditation so you can start to understand what you can access within yourself. So let's just begin with some deep breathing, and you could do this with your eyes open or your eyes closed. And I'm going to ask you to inhale through your nose, okay, into your belly, And from your belly, raise the breath to your lungs and hold it there as long as you can hold it. And then very slowly release it through your mouth. And we're going to do this 3 times. So just let's begin together now. Inhaling through your nose into your belly. Pushing the breath from your belly up to your lungs. Holding it. Very, very slowly letting it go. Releasing the breath through your mouth. Holding your lungs empty. Just holding your lungs empty. And now taking another deep, deep breath through your nose. Breathing right into your belly. Bringing the breath from your belly to your lungs. Now exhaling through your mouth slowly and holding your lungs empty. And one more time, I'll let you do this silently on your own. Now just breathe normally. And notice how your body is slowing itself down. This is a very good tool to just get yourself centered, to reduce stress, to alleviate anxiety. If you take deep breaths, then your body automatically responds and finds that deep state of relaxation. And I'm going to use the drum now to just do a soft beat, and I'm going to take you just through a very brief meditation. And for those of you who would like to do a deeper meditation, there are spiritual groups or teachers in your area. But for now, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes. Notice your breath. And imagine a root like the root of a tree, reaching down from the base of your spine into the earth. And along that root, pull up the earth energy as a silver beam of light. Up the root and into the spine. Up the spine and into your heart. And from your heart, send that silver light out to every cell of the body. Every cell of the body. And up above, imagine a beautiful golden star. And this star is you. This is your higher self, your connection to spirit. And there's a beam of light coming down from that star. Down in through the top of your head and into your heart. And from your heart, send that golden light out to every cell of the body. Every cell of the body. Now with all of your awareness, follow that golden light back to its source, back into that star. Bringing all of your awareness into that star. And feel your consciousness expanding larger and larger. And larger and larger. Now using your inner vision or your knowing, your sensing, notice the energy that surrounds your body. And notice where within that energy field there is a depletion connected to a ghost of the past. You might see it or sense it as a cord of energy that drains you and connects somewhere else. Just notice, sense where that is within your field and where the roots of that are within your body. And just notice for a moment what percentage of your energy is drained by that cord, by that ghost of the past. What is the belief system that you hold there about yourself that reflects that connection? And what's the emotion that you hold there? And right into that part of your field, just bring in that light of your star. Hold that light. And notice what begins to change. And notice where your work is as you continue to access your own personal ghosts of the past. Notice how these belief systems that come up for you are connected to your issues in your world, whether they're health issues, relationship issues, emotional issues. Now bring that light back down right into your heart. Out to every cell of your body. And extend it right back down into the earth. Opening up that flow. Bringing your awareness back to your physical body. And right back into this present moment. And open your eyes. This is a brief introduction to the work that you can begin to do as you access your own ghosts of the past, as you start your journey on the medicine wheel. When you start to access the forces of nature, when you start to work in the non-ordinary realms, then you start to do work on a deeper level than you could do in your everyday world through just utilizing conventional methods. So at Centerpoint, we realize that the process of healing and spiritual initiation have to be one. That to really initiate a process of true healing within oneself, to do one without the other, leaves us stuck in some ways from accessing our full potential. So I hope that you will join us in this series. Next time we'll be working with the direction of the West, the place of the spiritual warrior on the medicine wheel, the place of spiritual initiation. So I hope that you will join me next time and realize that your own healing process can be multidimensional, that your own healing process is about accessing the empowered part of yourself that could reach into these non-ordinary realms, that can impact on the conventional approaches to whatever the treatment is in our everyday world. So thank you very much for joining me. This is Irene Siegel, again co-director of Centerpoint, and I will see you on our next show. Thank you.